Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Sasha with Ray of Hope, Reiki, and more. This is our spiritual message of the 3rd. I have a lot of reading for this one because this one has a lot to do with relationships. And to be honest, I would struggle if I was trying to give relationship advice. I have a good relationship, but obviously I didn't learn that growing up what good relationships were, so I still kind of struggle. So let's wait till a couple people hop in. This is February 3rd. In the month of love, we are working on our upper heart chakras. We are working on embracing our awkwardness and loving ourselves, our true authentic selves. This week we have a couple events. We have a sound bath on Thursday, and the sound bath on Thursday is for I'm doing a guided meditation during the sound bath, so that's going to be super fun. And you'll get to use our new pads that I got, our memory foam pads, which will make the floor a lot more comfortable, and the room is a lot warmer now that we upgraded our heater. And then I think Sunday is our couples sound bath where we'll say affirmations and we'll come together as a couple, and then you lay down and I do energy work on you. Friday is our live. I have private Reiki sessions Tuesday and Wednesday already scheduled. I do have some openings still this week if you wanted to get in on the schedule. But the 10 o'clock on Tuesday and Wednesday are both taken. So I think that means I have like an 8:30 on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then that means I have an 11:30 on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as well. So I try to do it while the kids are in school. So if you ever come to an energy healing session where it's like in the afternoon, the kids are usually home. So that is what it is. I am like I don't want to do the spiritual message. I don't. I'm going to stay here and just talk to myself for the whole time because I don't want to talk about relationships and I don't want to learn anything. Good morning. Good morning. This one is a long one, and like February 3rd, lessons, what does it say? Lessons on love. And a lot of these things I didn't quite understand. So then I would like Google search it and like pull up like a talk or a topic. And then I'd copy paste so that I could just talk to you about it. Because honestly, I would not no. I guess we should get into it because there's 10 things. Okay. I'm not as healed as y'all think I am. I'm not as healed. I'm working on it, but I'm not as healed as you think I am. Okay. Lessons on love. The first one says, sometimes the one you think is right is all kinds of wrong for you. So obviously that makes me instantly think about boundaries. So, our intuition or experiences may point to something deeper in the relationship, so we may have like a feeling. Some signs, listen and color. Yeah, I wish I could color. Some signs that someone might not be right for you, even if they seem perfect on the surface, can include a constant discomfort. If being around someone feels draining emotionally or mentally, it might be a sign that they aren't in alignment with your energy or values. If they're ignoring your needs, when they repeatedly dismiss or belittle your feelings, thoughts, or needs, it can signal a lack of respect or understanding. Tension versus peace. Relationships should have natural flow, where peace and understanding are more common than conflict and tension. If it feels like you're constantly walking on eggshells or struggling, it may not be the right match. It's like this, and this is only the first section. Like there's 10 questions. It's a deep, deep conversation. Don't do that. Self-sacrificing. If you're compromising too much of who you are or your core values to please them, it might be a sign that the relationship is imbalanced. If you're compromising too much of who you are or your core value to please them, it might be a sign that the relationship is imbalanced. Okay. Inconsistent behavior. If their actions don't match their words and you find yourself doubting their intentions or reliability, it might point to a deeper issue. Lack of growth. A relationship should help both people grow. If you feel stuck, stagnant, or that you're constantly facing the same issues without resolution, it may not be the healthiest bond for you. And then a gut feeling. Sometimes your intuition will tell you something that doesn't quite make sense logically. Listen to that inner voice can be key in seeing when something isn't right for you. Okay, so that is the one where sometimes the one you think is right is all kinds of wrong for you. So a constant discomfort, ignoring your needs, tension versus peace, self-sacrificing, inconsistent behavior, lack of growth, and a gut feeling are all signs that you're in like a relationship that may not be right for you. And then number 2, there are a lot of folks with low expectations of what's possible in matters of the heart. Remember, you get exactly what you allow yourself to receive. And we've talked a lot about self-worth and like how you treat yourself is how others will treat you. So that's why a lot of the times when you pull back into a relationship and you love yourself, it can actually, it can actually help the relationship. I don't know why that is, but like loving yourself shows them kind of how to love you better. You get exactly what you allow yourself to receive. Suggests that in relationships, you're setting boundaries, consciously or unconsciously, about what you're willing to accept in terms of treatment, respect, and behavior. Essentially, it's saying that the way you allow others to treat you is a reflection of how you see your own worth or what you believe you deserve. Like, this doesn't even have to be, this could be a family relationship. If you consistently allow someone to disrespect you, dismiss your needs, or take you for granted, it can show that you might not be valuing yourself enough to set healthy boundaries. On the flip side, if you value yourself and know your worth, you're more likely to hold out for relationships where you're treated with respect, kindness, and love. So to avoid falling into situations where you're accepting less than you deserve, here are a few steps. This is what we need. Know your worth. Take time to reflect on what you truly want in a relationship and what you deserve. The clearer you are on this, the less likely you are to settle for less. Setting healthy boundaries. Clearly communicate your boundaries early on. Let people know what is and isn't acceptable. The boundaries can be emotional, physical, and behavioral. I've talked a lot about that. Like, you need to voice those boundaries when somebody makes you uncomfortable, or so you don't like something that's going on. Instead of going to your best friend and telling them, I really don't like when they do that, or going to your husband and saying, it bothers me that your mom does that. Like, you need to voice those things. You need to actually say those things to the person. Oh, they're not gonna, that's good. Oh, that's funny. March 3rd. That's good. Okay. Just another sign from Hecate. Okay. Sorry. I get distracted. Troy's doing that to me. Where was I? You have to voice those things in order for the boundary to be set, so that way when it happens again, you're able to be like, no, I said this makes me uncomfortable. I'm not okay with this. This is a boundary for us. If you can't accept this boundary, then we're gonna push back. We're gonna pull back. Not push. We're gonna pull back. Recognizing red flags, pay attention to early warning signs that things aren't aligned with your values. These can be things like dishonesty, disrespect, or patterns of inconsistency. Self-reflection. If you find yourself repeatedly in situations where you're not receiving the treatment you want, it might be a good idea to take a step back. What did I just say? Step back, not push. Step. And ask why you're allowing this. Are there deeper fears, like fear of being alone, that are influencing your decisions? If you set healthy boundaries with people and people push you further, that should be a direct reflection that they were using your energy and they didn't actually love you, they were using you. Cultivating self-love. Work on building your own self-esteem and confidence. The stronger your sense of self-love, the easier it becomes to recognize when something isn't right for you and to walk away if needed. A lot of us are broken in the self-love and self-esteem area. So I'm saying, like, a lot of the times when you get in the mirror and you're getting ready for work or whatever you're getting ready for the day, you need to say things like, you're beautiful, you're a good mom, you are a good wife, you do amazing, you accomplished so much yesterday. We don't focus on the negative, like, I didn't wash my hair, or man, like, I don't feel like I look great, or like, even if you don't feel like you look great, you better be saying those nice things to yourself. You look amazing. You're amazing. You're such a brave woman. You accomplish so many things. You tack on so much and you keep going no matter what happens in your day. You accomplish so much. Like, just be the cheerleader that you want other people to be for you, and you'll notice that other people will start being that cheerleader for you. Good morning, Pam. Good morning, good morning. The stronger your sense of self-love, the easier it becomes to recognize when something isn't right for you and to walk away if needed. Don't be afraid to walk away. It's one of the hardest things to do, but sometimes leaving a situation that isn't fulfilling or healthy is the only way to open space for the right relationship to come into your life. It is really hard, it is really hard to put your self-worth first, especially, like, it's almost like, I'm not saying, I don't know how I want to say this. I don't know if it makes sense to say, like, a martyr mentality, where, like, I would sacrifice myself for my family's, like, my mom and my sister and my dad. I would lay down and sacrifice myself for family that wouldn't leave me a breadcrumb. Like, you know what I mean? It's okay to walk away from those relationships. But if I don't talk to my grandma every day, then she has no one to talk to. But if she's talking to you like garbage and telling you what a worthless mother you are and how horrible you are at all the things that you're doing in your life, like, you're not helping her. She can find somebody else to yell at every day. If same thing with a spouse. Like, it's okay to walk away and start over. Is it scary? Yes. But your health, your well-being matters. People are always like, I don't understand how you cannot talk to your mom. Like, Troy's family would always bring it up, especially his dad. Like, you seen your mom? You talk to your mom? I'm like, I don't understand what you don't understand. I may love the lady, but I can't talk to her. She's an alcoholic. She wasn't when I was growing up. So, like, things are worse for her life now that I've cut her off. And I can miss that connection and wish that I had a different mom, but it doesn't mean I have to be involved with her. It's okay to walk away from relationships that give you nothing in return, that like are physically, emotionally, and mentally draining on you. You deserve to be healthy, happy. That is, honestly, I think that's why I have an autoimmune disorder is because of my mother. Like, and I know that's weird to put that on her, but like, because I was stifled as a child, all growing up, 23 years of my life, I lived there with her. I probably would have stayed there if Troy hadn't come in and rescued me, but my voice was stifled. I wasn't allowed to talk. I used to have this tick where I would typewrite. Like, I would just sit in the room where she was at, and if she was talking or whatnot, or if somebody was over and they were talking, I would just type like the conversation that I would put in to the conversation that was happening, because I wasn't allowed to talk. Like, you were reprimanded if you talked. Like, there are so many things that, like, and patterns that I had just to survive that situation, and it's okay for me to walk away from something that was completely toxic. And now I can share my voice with other people and help you guys heal as well and realize your self-worth. And it's okay to walk away from even like a mom. It's okay. Like, you're gonna be okay. Does it still hurt? It does, but it's like a different kind of hurt, because I can love her from a distance and not be associated with her. I can wish her the best, but I can put myself first and my family first. Okay. Question 4, or the lessons of love number 4. Love is, oh, we didn't do 3, did we? Yeah. So 3, I feel like this was the only one I didn't need to get extra information on. You will, without question, experience the kind of love that cracks your heart wide open and sprinkles confetti on the table, but not until you decide that nothing less than that is an option. I feel like that goes very much with what we just talked about with people will treat you exactly how you treat yourself. So I didn't get an explanation for that. I didn't need one. I feel like that one already went with the other 2 things that we talked about. Number 4, love is compromise. But if you find yourself in a relationship where the prerequisite is change for either you or your partner, walk away and save yourself the heartbreak. That's hard. That's really hard, Pam. It's really toxic, and it is draining on your physical health, not just emotional and mental, but we don't even think about it. Our physical ailments to be around toxic energy, and alcohol alone is a low vibrational thing. Oh my gosh, Troy. He knows I'm talking about him. I'm just kidding. But it brings your energy even lower. So it allows attachments. It allows the worst of thoughts to come into their mind. It allows them to be the worst of the worst person that they can be. Alcohol is horrible. It's horrible. Okay. It can feel unfair to put all the responsibility for change on one person, especially if you're expecting them to make significant adjustments in order to meet your needs. Relationships are a two-way street, and for connection to be healthy, both people need to grow, adapt, and be open to change in some way. If only one person is asked to change, it can create an imbalance and lead to feelings of resentment or frustration. Here's why it might feel unfair to set the prerequisite that only the other person must change. Every relationship requires growth from both partners. If one person is only focused on what the other needs to change, it can come across as if there's not taking responsibility for their own role in the dynamic. It's important to also ask, what can I do to contribute to the relationship and work on making adjustments as well? Like, I don't base everything off of love language, but I have a very different love language than Troy does. Somebody walks upstairs. Are you? Cody, is that you? Yeah. Creepy, mother trucker. That's creepy. Okay. It's an actual person. Okay. What I was saying is love language. So, like, Troy's love language is very much communicating that he's amazing. Like, what is it? Words of affirmation, love language. And I was a child that was stifled and not allowed to speak or talk. Like, I was not allowed at all, to the point where I'm typewriting to have conversations, to feel like I was a person. And so, like, he's over here like begging for words of affirmation, and I'm over here like, I don't expect you to give me words of affirmation or praise. Like, I know I'm doing good. I know the house is clean. I know the kids are taken care of. Like, I know I'm doing good. I don't need words of affirmation. I don't feel like I don't understand it. But because that's his love language, I try to change and speak and be like, oh my gosh, thank you for working so hard for our family. Like, I feel like I show the thank you by working so hard in the home that I don't feel like I have to voice it, because I'm like showing with my my work, if that makes sense. How do you get a word in? I know. It's good that he talks so much, because honestly, we would not have worked out in the beginning, because I really didn't talk at all. He is a talker. But he expects me to give words of affirmation. So that is something that I try to change about myself. And then he tries to change things about himself as well in the relationships to allow us to come together better. So hard, y'all. Control versus change. Expecting someone to change in specific ways can sometimes veer into a territory where you're trying to control the other person. People are complex, and while we can grow and evolve, we can't necessarily be molded into someone else's vision of who we should be. So he knows I try, but he also knows that that's really hard for me, and he's not always going to get that. Like, he's not always going to get that. And he also knows that I'm ADD, and that, like, I could put the stuff in the dishwasher and not start the dishwasher. I could have the laundry half started and I haven't switched it over. Or like the little breadcrumbs where you can tell that I've cleaned a little bit of an area, but then I must have gotten distracted and I'm working on a different area. And then I'm like, he knows that he makes fun of and teases, like if the cupboard's open, if what is something else that I do that drives him crazy? I can't remember, but he likes to tease those things instead of getting frustrated with those things, which you could easily get frustrated because I'm so spacey. It's okay. So another thing, when we were going through a lot of our, like, we had a lot of issues with the move and stuff because he worked so hard and then he burned himself out, and then he ended up having a ton of autoimmune issues around the same time he was cutting off his family. Interesting. Our physical and emotional well-being are connected. But like the things that he lost when he was going through a lot of his pain and stuff are the things that I love the most now. Like, I used to get so irritated at how much he talked to people. I'm like, you have to let other people have a word in. Like, you have to listen to them too. Like, it has to be a two-way street communication. But Troy is like an over powerful communicator. He will hold both conversations with you. And just then everybody's like, and like me intuitively, I'm like, would you let them talk? Would you listen to them? And like, it would drive me crazy. And then I'm like, I could tell that people are trying to leave. And he's talking and talking and talking. And I'm like, oh my God, they want to leave. Troy, shut up. And then I would give him looks like, and then he'd be like, oh. But because he went through such a really hard depression with the move and stuff, he kind of lost that talking, and then he kind of lost himself, and he was sad, and it was sad. And so he's gotten that back a lot, and now he's talking to people again, and I just sit there like, I'm gonna let you all be tortured. I don't care because my husband's happy, and I don't want to change him. I want him to be his goofy, never shut up self. Okay? So if you come over and he's torturing you, I'm happy about it. I'm not going to help you anymore. So you can't change the person. Exactly. Code word, pomegranate. It's time to leave. Okay. Respecting individuality. Part of a healthy relationship is respecting each other's uniqueness. Asking for change or expecting it in a specific way might overlook the other person's inherent qualities that are important to them. It's about compromise, not forcing someone to become a completely different version of themselves. Makes sense? Sustainability. Even if the person changes temporarily to meet your needs, that change might not be suitable if it's not rooted in their own desire to evolve. Change in a relationship needs to be mutual and driven by both parties committed to making the relationship work. Relationships do require some level of change, particularly when both people are willing to adapt, evolve, and meet each other halfway. It just becomes unfair when one person is expecting to shoulder all of the change without recognizing their own needs, growth, or boundaries. The healthiest approach to create an environment of mutual respect and communication. If both parties are willing to work on themselves and their dynamic, the relationship can grow in a way that feels balanced and supportive. Okay, number 5. All matters of the heart have challenges, but the lay your soul on the line kind of love is one of the most natural feelings in the world. I would lay my soul on the line for my husband. I would. And he would do the same for me. Laying your soul on the line in love refers to the kind of vulnerability and openness where you give your heart fully without holding back. Oh, maybe I wouldn't. I was talking about like I would die for him. this is talking about vulnerability. Wait a minute, back up. No. Never mind. In love refers to the kind of vulnerability and openness where you give your heart fully without holding back. Even when there are risks involved, it's the intense all-in feeling that comes when you let someone in so deeply that you're willing to face the highs and lows with them no matter what. Holy moly. Holy moly. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I've been married for 13 years, and with all the abuse and healing that I've done in the 13 years of our marriage, I'm getting there. And I really am. I feel like I've been finding myself in the last year, which might have made it even harder for him in the move because I've changed a lot. I've changed a lot in the last year because I'm finding myself. So, here's why this kind of love feels so natural and real. Vulnerability. When you love in this way, you're not just giving part of yourself, you're giving your whole heart. You share your true feelings, your flaws, your insecurities, and your hopes for the future. This level of vulnerability can feel both scary and freeing. It's an acknowledgement that love isn't just about the perfect moments, but about showing up even in the difficult or uncertain times. Vulnerability, check mark. Are we doing that? Kind of. Trust. Laying your soul on the line requires trust. Trust that the other person will honor your heart, that they won't break it in a way that leaves you shattered. Trust allows for a deep connection where you know that even if things don't go as planned, you've given your authentic self to someone who deserves it. Are you vulnerable in your relationship? Do you share your true thoughts and feelings? Do you trust your partner? Those are deep thoughts. Risk and reward. There's something uniquely natural about taking the emotional risk. Love isn't always easy, and yet we keep returning to it because it feels so fundamentally right. We're wired for connection, and despite the challenges, the potential for a deep, soul-fulfilling bond makes the risk worth it. So risk and reward. Commitment to growth. The lay your soul on the line kind of love often comes with commitment to not just love the other person, but to grow with them. It's about being vulnerable enough to share your fears. Do you share your fears with your partner? I don't think we talk about our fears. That would be an intense conversation. That would be hard. But also being brave enough to face them together. We face everything together, but I don't think that we communicate our fears. Through challenges, love evolves and both people transform into better versions of themselves through the relationship. Unconditionality. There's also an element of unconditional love in this phrase. When you lay your soul on the line, you love someone deeply without needing them to meet certain conditions or expectations. I feel like that's how I am. It's a kind of love that transcends perfection and is more about showing up and being present for each other. While this type of love can bring about the greatest joy and connection, it's also true that it comes with challenges, misunderstandings, doubts, fears, and vulnerability, or moments of heartache. But what makes it natural is that it taps into the deepest parts of who we are as humans, the desire to love and be loved, to be seen and understood, to be seen and understood on the most authentic level. Halfway there. So that one, laying your soul on the line for your partner, like you saw how I was instantly like, oh yeah, I would I would sacrifice myself for my kids. I would sacrifice myself for my husband. I would stand in front of a train. I don't know. I would give it all. But in your relationship, are you being vulnerable and sharing your true feelings with your partner? Do you really trust in your relationship? Are you committed to growing in your relationship for the other person? And are you committed in loving them even with their flaws? Okay, number 6. When you unconditionally love someone, you see them as they are. When you love them with conditions, you see them as you are. And I was like, what? Let me read it again. Maybe you guys will get as confused as me. When you unconditionally love someone, you love them as they are. When you love them with conditions, you see them as you are. So let's see if this discussion helps me understand that, because I'm confused. And is that a projection of me, the flaws that I see in him? Am I projecting what? Like, I don't know. The difference between loving someone for who they are, flaws and all, versus loving them based on what you expect or want them to be. Unconditional love is seeing them as they are. When you love someone unconditionally, you accept them fully just as they are. This means embracing their imperfections. You don't try to change or fix them because you accept their imperfections and quirks. I'm learning to do that. You love them for all their strengths, weaknesses, flaws, and even parts of them that might challenge you. You have true compassion. You see the whole person, not just the part of them that you agree with or feel comfortable with. You offer empathy and understanding even when they're struggling or don't meet your ideal expectations. Freedom in love. Unconditional love gives the other person the space to be themselves without fear of rejection or conditional approval. There's no need to perform or act in a way that meets someone else's standards. You love them as they are, and they feel accepted and valued because of that. Selflessness. With unconditional love, you're not loving someone for what they can give you or what they can bring to the table. It's a giving, selfless love where you want the best for them, not because it benefits you, but because you care about their happiness and growth. When you love someone with conditions, your love is based on what you expect from the other person. This can result in projection. I told you. It's a projection. Projection or personal expectations. When you love someone conditionally, you're often loving them for who they reflect your own, for how they reflect your own desires, needs, or ideals. You might love them because they fit a certain mold you have in mind, whether that's their appearance, behavior, or how they make you feel. Conditional love often involves a sense of, if you do this, I will love you more. Or if you become this person, I will be happy with you. In this case, love can feel like transactions or something that is earned rather than freely given. You're seeing them not as they are, but as a means of fulfilling your own emotional needs. Attachment to outcome. This form of love can come with a sense of dependency on how the other person behaves. You might become frustrated or disappointed if they don't live up to the idealized version you have of them. Because your love is tied to specific conditions being met, it's often based on external actions rather than intrinsic worth. And then conditional acceptance. Love becomes more about acceptance of specific traits or behaviors and less about loving the entirety of the person. If they don't fit into your framework or meet your condition, there's less room for acceptance and understandings. The difference between these two types of love is rooted in the level of freedom and acceptance you offer. Unconditional love allows space for the person to grow and evolve without fear of rejection or imperfection or mistakes. Conditional love, on the other hand, limits the relationship by binding it to specific conditions or expectations, often leading to feeling inadequacy or tension. Unconditional love fosters deep connection and growth, while conditional love tends to be more transactional, leaving both parties feeling less free to be themselves. It's tough to always love unconditionally because we all have our own needs. But when we can approach love with a mindset of acceptance, seeing the person for who they truly are, it creates a strong, more genuine connection. We have to let go of control in our relationships. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Not only do we want to feel free and like we're loved unconditionally, but our partner wants to feel free and loved unconditionally. What's question 7? I messaged the girl chat and I was like, I don't want to do this message. But it's good. That means I needed to do the message. Love is wide open freedom in a tightly confined world. I didn't understand that one either. Like, love is wide open freedom in a tightly confined world. And it says, speaks to how love is in its purest form, can feel bondless, liberating, and expansive. Yet we often live in a world that feels limiting, constrained, or controlled by expectations, rules, and society pressures. Okay. So that makes sense. Like if you grew up religious, like that would put a confined on the relationship, like strict rules and stuff. Just society in itself, what the role of the female and the male is constricting. Okay. Love, when it is real and deep, can feel like a boundless, expansive force. It's the feeling of being connected to someone so fully that there's an openness, an authenticity, and a freedom to simply be without fear of judgment. True love allows people to express their emotions, desires, and vulnerabilities without feeling the weight of restriction. It's a space where you don't have to hide parts of yourself. You can simply exist and be loved for who you are. Freedom of expression in a loving relationship, you're free to be yourself. Share your thoughts and dreams and grow as an individual without the fear of rejection. There's no pretense. You can be fully raw and honest. I feel like I'm learning to do that more and more. Love has a way of making you feel lighter, like the burdens of life are a little easier to carry. It offers emotional freedom where you feel supported and validated for your feelings, no matter how complex they are. So being able to share freely, but also being able to accept your partner's emotions freely as well without constrictions. Love has the power to break through barriers, whether those are internal barriers like self-doubt or fear, or external ones like the societal expectations. In love, there's room for change, growth, and exploration of what is possible. On the flip side, the world we live in often feels restricted. Society, culture, and even our own internal doubts can create a sense of confinement. We face pressures to conform to certain standards, follow set paths, and meet expectations. There are so many rules about how we're supposed to behave, what success should look like, and what love should be. So, social expectations. The world often imposes limits on what is considered acceptable, including how relationships should work. There can be pressure to love in a certain way or follow conventional patterns, which can sometimes feel restrictive. Fear and insecurity. A lot of people carry fear of rejection, judgment, or failure, which can make us feel confined in our relationship. We may hold back parts of ourselves or suppress certain feelings because we worry they won't be accepted or understood. Daily struggles. On a practical level, life can feel limiting because of responsibilities, obligations, and the challenges that come with navigating the world. The external world can sometimes feel like a maze of rules, expectations, and pressures, leaving little room to breathe and be free. So the statement expresses a paradox. Love offers freedom, yet we live in a world that often limits the freedom. Even in the most loving relationships, we are often navigating the confines of everyday life, balancing work, expectations, and sometimes our own fears and insecurities. But love allows us to feel like we can rise above the constraints, even only for a moment, and experience a sense of liberation that exists beyond all the rules and boundaries around us. This paradox might reflect the tension we all feel, wanting to break free from limitations, but also having to navigate the realities of life. In a way, love becomes the refuge from the confining nature of the world, a place where you can feel free and accepted, even if everything else feels tight and controlled. It's a reminder that love, when given and received freely, holds the potential to transcend the limitations of the world and allows us to experience something more expansive and genuine. I love that because love honestly can heal everything. Love, like if your heart chakra can heal in anything and everything. So imagine working as a team against the world and raising your kids that way. I'm going to try plugging my phone into this charger and see if it doesn't mess with the light. I don't know why the other charger pulls too hard or something. Okay, I like that. I like that. We got through that. Number 9. Are we on number 9? No? Oh, 8. 8. We're on 8. When it's right, you feel it in every cell of your being. When it's wrong, you feel that too. Stay in close connection to your hearts to know what is true for you. You know if you're in a toxic relationship. Even if you're a little bit like Stockholm or like low in your self-confidence and self-esteem and you can't like see all of the toxic patterns, you will know if you're in a toxic relationship. So number 9, I didn't understand either. Cynicism has a way of setting in, and if you allow it to, you can easily give up faith in the one thing that can save us all, love. Please don't lose your faith. Love does exist. I could have very easily given up on love a lot of times. Loving without conditions or expectations and loving unconditionally in a relationship, like it's a good refresher to realize like I need to, in order to love unconditionally, there's a lot of things that I have to let go of. Like I cannot control my relationship and try to smother it. I need to let there be freedom of expression, freedom in the whole thing. And not only does he need to be more vulnerable in the relationship, we just need better communication. And I'm not the best communicator. And it's not the best time to communicate things when you're arguing. Not that we're arguing. We're not arguing. I'm just saying like that's a lot of the times when relationships communicate that something's going wrong is when you're arguing. But there needs to be deep conversations that don't happen just because you're in an argument. There needs to be vulnerability and love there. And you need to be able to share your fears, and you need to be able to trust your partner wholeheartedly. And you need to love them for them. Like for their quirks that drive you crazy, those things should be things that you value in your partner and that you allow them to be themselves and you don't try to change those things. Okay. This one, so you can easily give up faith in the one thing that can save us all. Love. Please don't lose your faith. Love does exist. Okay. Love offers freedom, yet we live in a world that, did I read this already? Limits that freedom. Even in the most loving relationships, we are often navigating the confines of everyday life, balancing work expectations. So I did finish that. And then the last one, it is hard to do. Sometimes we get upset with a person, but after we understand the situation, we can deal with it. Yes, that's unconditional. Yeah, I think that all of these things are amazing. And I think that a lot of the times we close ourselves off to love because of the pain and hurt we've been through. And it's okay to take a pause and to reset and to get to know yourself again and to actually love yourself before, if you're getting out of a toxic relationship, or like, you definitely should spend that time to self-love and reflect and know your self-worth again. But know that that is not what relationships are like, and that there are beautiful and amazing relationships that you can build. So I haven't been around my mom in like 6 years, right? And so I would always say stuff that was maybe cynical, I don't know, but about women and relationships. I just don't get along with women. Women don't like me. I'm not a girl's girl. Like, and it's because like my mom's toxic. My sister's toxic. She deals with a lot of issues from the way we grew up. And she doesn't know how to express herself, and she's fallen into addiction and a bad life. And then constantly growing up, my mom and her sisters were fighting. Like, it was always like 3 against 1. And so then those were toxic patterns. And then in high school, I was always picked on. Even in middle school, like, kids could, I think I was autistic. I know I'm autistic. And I think that kids pick up on kids that are different. And I think a lot of the times they tease kids. So I was always being bullied all the way up into high school. Like, girls in high school were putting like wrappers on my locker and shit. I just was never, I never fit in. I was always hanging out with myself or guys playing basketball to try to like fit in. And then like the girl relationships that I did have, even just 3 years ago when I had that relationship with that vendor that I had in Florida, that backstabbed me. Some of the women in Troy's family backstabbed me. I just don't have a good relationship with women. And so therefore I would say me and love between women, like, I would say that it doesn't exist. And then within like, after that happened, and when I met Danielle and Crystal and I started building those relationships, I still was kind of hesitant. But when I was able to embrace that and love unconditionally and like open my heart back up to maybe I can be friends with women, it's been a beautiful experience. And I like say the 3 sisters will send you spiritual messages, or the 3 sisters are going to do the energy healing, or the 3 sisters are going to write intuitive messages in the subscription box, because it just feels like they're sisters. And I will have those self-doubt moments where I'll be like, But what if they like leave me, or what if they end up hating me or something? But then I push that aside because the bond that we have is so amazing. So I know that a lot of the times we can go through a long period of life, like all growing up to what, I don't know, 30 something years old, and I just did not think that love between women existed, at least in an honest form. And I feel like I can truly and authentically be myself with these women, and it's been amazing, and it's been healing my inner child and all parts of me, and I'm really excited about that. So know that even though if you've had horrible relationships, that amazing relationships exist, and that even if you're in a relationship that has its ups and downs, as long as you guys are loving each other unconditionally, don't make me cry, Danielle. Don't make me cry. And you're working on growth and evolving in your relationship together, that you guys can face anything that is trying to tear the relationship apart. You can face anything, and you can learn to grow in the relationship. Like, I learned a lot that I needed to step back and give Troy more freedom, because he's really trying to find himself without his family unit. And he needs more of that solitude so that he can heal his heart a lot better. And I need to love his quirks. I need to love that he never shuts up. I need to love those parts of him, because I don't want him to be anything else other than Troy. Because when he was sad and not talking, it was more depressing. I would rather he never shut up. I hope that this helped. Lessons on love. This was interesting. I was not excited to do it, but I think that it was a good reminder. So, lessons on love. Number 1, sometimes the one you think is right is all kinds of wrong for you. So listen to your intuition. Know that you have to have healthy boundaries in all relationships. Number 2, there are a lot of folks with low expectations of what's possible in matters of the heart. Remember, you get exactly what you allow yourself to receive. Treat yourself the way you want to be treated. Number 3, you will without question experience the kind of love that cracks your heart wide open and sprinkles confetti on the table, but not until you decide that nothing less than this is an option. A lot of the time when you cut off toxic relationships and you level yourself up by only allowing certain boundaries, it will pull in the people that truly love you. His superpower is talking. He does it well. Number 4, love is compromise. But if you find yourself in a relationship where the prerequisite is change for either you or your partner, walk away and save yourself the heartbreak. You shouldn't have to change everything of who you are. You should be able to be loved authentically. But at the same time, you shouldn't be trying to change your partner for something that you want. You should love them and their authenticity as well. Number 5, all matters of the heart have challenges, but the lay your soul on the line kind of love is the one of the most natural feelings in the world. I think this is the biggest epiphany one, number 5 for me, because I thought that laying my love on the line, what does it say? Laying your soul on the line meant I would die for him. And it actually means that you're willing to be wholeheartedly open and vulnerable in your relationship and sharing your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. It means that you're fully trusting in your partner, which is really hard for me. I don't have no reason not to trust him, but I was abused for 23 years and then manipulated for a while after that. Like, I have issues. I'm working on them. But you have to be able to trust your partner. You have to be able to express yourself. Number 6, when you unconditionally love someone, you see them as they are. When you love them with conditions, you see them as you are. So don't project or make limiting beliefs in your relationship. Our relationship, don't constrict it. Love is wide open. Freedom is a tightly confined world. Don't fall into society's norms. If your relationship works with your man being more feminine or you being more masculine, or if don't allow religious expectations to pull down your relationship. Don't allow society to make you feel controlled or confined in your relationship. Allow it to be what it wants to be. 8. When it's right, you feel it in every cell of your being. When it's wrong, you feel that too. Stay in close connection to your heart to know what is true for you. Letting go of fear, guilt, and shame, any thoughts of unworthiness. Number 9, cynicism has a way of setting in, and if you allow it to, you can easily give up faith in the one thing that can save us all, love. Please don't lose your faith. Love does exist. Love does exist, I promise. And even if you've had a really hard time with love, it doesn't mean that love still isn't out there. Number 10, the most important, you deserve to be loved. 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 I always, when I do my energy healing sessions, I always try to pull down the light when I get to the heart chakra and tap on the heart and say, you are loved. You are worthy of love. And then like I send energy to like purge the rest. You release the rest. I am loved. I am worthy of love. I release the rest. I am loved. I am worthy of love. I release the rest. So I hope this talk helped you guys, because it did help me. Even though I didn't want to work on my relationship. I done worked on my relationship a little bit this morning without him even here. He's gonna be like, oh my gosh, she's been so nice to me lately. And it's honestly because this is so helpful. Starting my day out with a positive thought, starting my day off thinking about and wondering, being more mindful in my life is really helping. And then you've got February is probably going to be a lot about love, because that's what society, like February, it's probably going to be all about love. So we're going to learn a lot about relationships, but I'm here for it. I guess I can learn a little bit. I hope you guys have a beautiful and wonderful day. I hope you're able to find the things that you're grateful for in each day, and that you continue that pattern with your family. And I hope that you're able to live in the present moment and not worry so much about the past, or worry too much far in the future. Like, live in the present moment. Find the beautiful things that happen to you today. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, Instagram. Bye, Facebook.